What is up, folks? Hello. Actually, I just realized my camera is turned like way over there. There we go. Nice. Okay, there we go. Nope, it's still not good. I need to fix this. This Ecamm thing that I'm using is great, but it doesn't always work quite well perfectly every time. So I gotta re-enable this and then zoom a little bit. There we go. That's better. Might have to do that again later. Okay, cool. Hi, so my name's Kent, and I'm here talking about how awesome EpicReact is, and I want to tell you about the Suspense workshop for EpicReact. So I've been doing this series of live streams to show people different features or the different workshops that we have as part of EpicReact. And I've done a bunch of them already, so if you want to see those, you can go to my YouTube channel, which you're probably watching right now, and just go through the workshops that you're particularly interested in. And yeah, today we're going to be talking about Suspense, so let me jump into that. Oh, looks like my volume is like really bad. Huh, that's weird. Yeah, I need to figure out this Ecamm thing because maybe one of my... no? Yeah, I was thinking maybe one of my kids played with my knobs or something, I don't know. But yeah, hopefully that's better. Let me know if it's still a bit of a problem. Whew. Yeah, this is weird. Anyway, let me switch over to picture-in-picture. And I gotta fix this one too. This is super annoying. Ecamm Studio is good, but it could be better. There we go. That's better. Okay, cool. So this is EpicReact. If you haven't seen it yet, then go take a look because that 20% discount won't be here forever. You want to get that before it's over. And if you're like, what is this? I want to get a high level overview. Then I've got a tour that you can go take a look at and watch that to get an idea of what EpicReact is all about. It's basically like a semester-long three credit class. It is not an online course. That is very different from anything you'll find on anywhere else. So yeah, definitely give this a solid look because it will make a big impact on your React skills, I am sure. So with that, let's scroll down here past all this amazing content that we've already reviewed and talk about Suspense. So like all of the workshops, the material is completely open source. You can go through it on your own if you like, and you can even contribute fixes and improvements and stuff like these fine folks have. And yeah, and then you get this all set up locally, and here it is locally, and it's great. I don't know if we'll actually get into that, but this is the app. I don't know why this is still spinning, so I'll refresh that really quick and see if I can get that to stop, or I'll just close that. So when you're running locally, you have a workshop app, and on the left side, you'll see what the some background and instructions and whatever for the workshop exercises, and on the right side you'll see the actual output for the files that we have on the system. So here for exercise 1 we have simple data fetching, that's what we're working on, and then for the final you have the solution, but then you also have extra credit 1, 2, and 3, which each are quite interesting in their own right. So you have instructions on how to get those all set up. Anyway, so for us, we're doing simple data fetching as the first exercise. This is like one of the things about Suspense is because it's so, I just noticed my volume is like really loud still. So I don't know why that is. It's so weird. There. Hopefully that's better. Yeah, so one of the things about Suspense is that it is totally experimental. Like lots of stuff is probably going to change. It's all going to be changed. I don't know. Who knows for real? But it's likely that some things will change. And so there aren't like abstractions built for it yet or anything. So it's a very primitive and fundamental API. And so I show you the basic fundamentals of the API itself. And that's what this first exercise is all about. It's like, let's see the most basic way to use the Suspense API. This first lesson is just full of really interesting and useful information on how Suspense works. So don't skip this one. This is it's really important. Then we talk about render as you fetch, which is actually really cool. A lot of Suspense is about performance, as well as declarative asynchrony, which is also cool in its own right. And so you'll find these exercises get increasingly more performant, especially with regard to data loading, asynchronous loading of code and data. And I talk about the principle of render as you fetch in this one. And this is actually kind of an interesting one as well, where the idea is you want to request all of the stuff that you need as soon as you know the information you need for it. And this differs from the way that we often go about as like we're rendering data. We want to co-locate our data requirements with the code that requires that data. But then if we have to make requests to go get that code, then we're waiting for that request to finish before we can actually start getting the data that that code requires. But you often know what you need to go ahead and get that data at the same time you're getting the code. So I show you how to do that with Suspense, and you can actually do that without Suspense. I talk about that a little bit in my article here in EpicReact.Dev articles, right here. Yeah, so that one's kind of interesting. I'll just stick that here in the Discord for anybody who is watching there. But it's kind of interesting concepts there. So yeah, we talk about the principle. You can use it without Suspense, which is what that article is about, but it's going to be even cooler with Suspense. Okay, so then we talk about use transition. This one is the one that's most likely to change, and in fact, this is already changed in master on the React project. So one of the nice things about the way that this workshop works is videos are just one small portion of what you get out of the workshop. Another big portion is the documentation, the repos, the challenges, the work through here. Alan just said my mic is muted. I turned it down, and so maybe I need to turn it back up a little bit, but I don't think it's muted. I can get it in the red on my sound levels, so I'm not seeing any other complaints, so I'm going to keep on going, assuming that my mic is not muted. And somebody's typing. Okay, good. So that's Alan's got speaker problems or something. Sorry. Hopefully you can figure that out. Luckily, this is all recorded, so you can watch it later. Thank you, Jeff. Okay, cool. So yeah, this one is actually already been changed. Like I said, in master, they totally removed the argument that you pass to use transition. So everything in here where you see the Suspense config and stuff, that's been totally changed. Now, it might come back. It's possible. I brought up one use case right in here where I said, hey, like I can no longer do this thing. And they basically said, yeah, there's no solution to this problem that we solve in this exercise, which is a total bummer. I'm not happy about it. But they do plan on having support this just with a different API. And that actually ends up working out pretty nicely because the API for it was a little confusing, kind of awkward. So I don't mind that so much, but this is just some evidence that like, hey, listen, you're going through very experimental material here, so just prepare yourself emotionally for that. But like at the same time, it's also very interesting, and you can apply lots of the principles that you learn in this workshop to modern day React, and not just future React. So yeah, this one has got some pretty interesting things in it to really optimize the loading of this data so that it loads in an expected way without showing flashes of loading states and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Okay, so then we have cache resources, which is interesting. We get into some caching of our resources. One of the biggest challenges in software development is naming things and caching. Oh, and off by one errors. So one of the nice things about Suspense is that it actually makes things easier to do this kind of caching. And what's even better is now that we have React Query. React Query can do all of this nonsense for you, and you don't have to worry about it yourself. So it actually, things do get even better than what we have here. But it's good to understand how you can, like the way that you think about caching for when we're talking about a suspense context. No pun intended. Haha. Okay, so then for exercise 5, we've got suspense image. This one we're actually going to talk about the how the browser itself does its own caching and how we can leverage that to make sure that the images that you load are already loaded before you, like, so you don't show that, you know, this image is loading, thing, basically, so you don't see stuff like this for half a second while the stuff's loading. So yeah, that one's actually pretty neat. And yeah, a couple extra credits there, and also actually a demo. Let me see. I don't know if I linked to the demo in here, but I show you the demo in the workshop. So I'll just show you this here really quick. So we have an example right here, preload image, bum-ba-da-dum. And so I show you, if I slow this down, I'll just show you really quick, because it is pretty cool. Where's my network tab? So if I slow my network down to like 3G or slow 3G, and then I say, I've got 2 images that I'm going to load as soon as I click show images. But if I preload ditto, you'll see that gets preloaded right here, and it's happening while we're just like talking. It hasn't actually loaded yet, but we preloaded it now. And so if I click show images, then you'll see ditto right there, but then Bulbasaur takes a second to load, right? And so we're leveraging the browser cache for images, and you can leverage the browser cache for a lot of different things, not just images, but really any assets or even JavaScript, like JavaScript files, or even data. And so yeah, that just kind of shows you how you might accomplish that using a special suspense image component. This one's actually pretty cool. Yeah, and the way that I teach it to you hopefully will make it all very clear, if that wasn't that little demo wasn't super clear. So then we talk about turning things into a custom hook. This one's actually pretty easy. There's a little bit of extra credit here, but it's basically like, hey, you know how cool it is that we can create these, you know, use these primitive APIs? Well, what if we didn't have to use the primitive API and we could actually just build something on top of it? And then use that thing we built on top of it, so we don't have such a weird API. And so that's what this is all about. So it's pretty simple. Like if you've created a custom hook before, this one you should be able to go through in no time at all. But it's mostly to show you the power that hooks can suspend, and that's what one of the cool things about hooks and suspense, and the fact that, like, if you're working through this and you're like, man, these APIs are hard, or they're confusing, or whatever. No, like when suspense is a real thing with concurrent mode and everything, most of us will not be dealing with these APIs directly. It's good to understand how they work so that we can use the abstractions more effectively. But yeah, this isn't the end game of using these features. You will get the declarative asynchrony, which is really great. So have fun with that. Okay, cool. So the last one is coordinating suspending components with suspense list, which I think is quite interesting. So if I pop this open, you can see how these we're able to coordinate the different loading states. So here, if we look at the isolated page and I go here, and then they're all just loading and they pop in, they're like all over the place. And you see that like all the time where you have like 30 loading spinners on the page. And so suspense list job is to just coordinate things so they don't bounce all over the place. It gives you a lot of power. It's especially useful in like if you're talking about building a Discord like thing, where you need to load things in a proper order so that as the user's scrolling back in the history, things don't just like pop in place and whatever and bounce all over the place. Suspense list can really give you a lot of fine-grained control over that. So that one's pretty cool. It's a little bit of an interesting API though, which is why I'm just looking forward to the cool abstractions that you're going to build on top of these APIs, so we don't have to work with these primitive APIs. So yeah, that's what we cover in React Suspense workshop on EpicReact.Dev. That's all that I have for you. If you have some questions, then I'm happy to answer those questions. But yeah, that's everything here. So let me just wrap a couple of things up. Remember, EpicReact.Dev has a sale, 20% off right now. People are loving it. If you want to get an idea of what this is like, or like what people think of it, then you can go to EpicReact.Dev/tweets, and this will show you a bunch of tweets from people who just love Epic React, and they're just really enjoying it. So yeah, I guess I'm starting to have too many tweets or something, because that took a second for Twitter to magicify all those things. But yeah, I love this one. This person just barely said that they purchased after seeing all the really awesome reviews, probably on this page, and so I immediately added them to this page. So yeah, that's kind of fun. And then yeah, live stream schedule. So today is Friday. I will not be live streaming over the weekend, of course. So you'll see me again on Monday, and I will be giving a review of the Build an Epic React App workshop, which is this one. And as you can see, very large, tons of content in here. And this is actually, this workshop is way less hand-holdy than the rest of them. And so there's a lot more content in each one of these. So like, these aren't individual videos. Those of you who are on EpicReact.Dev know this. These are sections, and then you have individual videos here. So yeah, there are a lot more videos for each one of these than they are for the individual exercises, typically for what we've had so far. So that's something that you can look forward to tomorrow as we get into some of the bigger things with Epic React App. The live stream next week is probably going to be very long as I review all of this stuff, but it's going to be awesome. So it looks like we don't have any questions from folks, so we are good to rock and roll. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I hope you have a stellar weekend, or whenever you end up watching this. You rock. Have a good time. We'll see you all in the future. Bye.